What is your favorite place in the hospital?
Probably the walkway between the main atrium and the west wing, where they display different kinds of art from.
Honestly, it's going to be anywhere that has the views of the reservoir.
Any of the corner rooms in the East Tower.
On the research floor, there's a huge atrium that's really open and has lots of windows. And
It's the healing garden. I just think it's really nice that we have that space for patients and their families.
Is anywhere you can find the dogs.
And in fact, it's this chair right here, which is where all the fellows sit when we do our reviews, but more importantly, when they just stop by on a day-to-day basis to say hi or talk about what's going on in the hospital.
I really like the caffeine at the coffee stand.
The coffee stand between the cafeteria and the small atrium.
But my favorite place is probably the robotic froyo machine. And you heard me right, we do have a robotic froyo machine.
What's my favorite place to go in the DMV, meaning the, if you're not already familiar with that, DC, Maryland, Virginia area?
National parks and hiking trails.
Great Falls National Park.
Probably Great Falls, the Billy Goat Trail.
It's Roosevelt Island.
So I'm a big outdoorsy person, so I love to go to the pick your own farm.
Really the C&O Canal parks that go along the Potomac.
My favorite place in the DC metro area is Rock Creek Park.
We have everything from the Atlantic Ocean within 3 hours from the city to the mountains in the Shenandoah National Park, all within a very easy driving distance.
Is actually to walk through the memorials and monuments, starting from the National Mall, making my way up to the Lincoln Memorial.
The gardens of the Supreme Court.
Cherry blossoms in the spring in Washington, D.C. are one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
It's definitely got to be Georgetown. I love going to Georgetown at the waterfront. They have
visiting the waterfronts. So down by the Georgetown waterfront and the Newark Southwest waterfront.
Get a donut and walk along the wharf and the waterfront.
But you can get anything from vegan or halal Chinese restaurants, Bengali grocery stores.
The 930 Club. I'll see you there.
What are your favorite things to do in DC area when you're not at the hospital? So I love group fitness class.
Doing bar classes.
DC is perennially one of the most, quote, fittest towns in the country.
I really like running through Washington. It's monumental.
Sailing, hiking, kayaking.
Free time, I like to explore all the new restaurants in DC.
Any type of cuisine you want.
Just finding new breweries to check out and...
Actually, it's to be with my family. Particularly, I have 2 young boys.
I have 2 kids, and I like to explore things in DC, especially the zoo. And I also
enjoy the theater, restaurants, exhibits, museums, and lovely walks, farmers markets and festivals. I just love DC.
I think the Kennedy Center is another highlight for me.
There's all sorts of sporting events.
So locally there's a lot to discover, and even beyond that, we're close to Baltimore, Philadelphia. Each one of those is just a short day trip away to go have fun.
I was asked what's the most unique thing about Washington, D.C. I think it's really the people. Washington is just such a city of diversity, and there's just so many cool things to do, from kind of the social side of things with various restaurants and bars to the green areas and space throughout the city with tons of parks. We have ice skating rinks throughout the city.
Washington has the best combination of city life mixed with the ability to do outdoor activities.
One of the most unique things about DC is the law that restricts the height of the buildings, so you don't have skyscrapers here.
It also has a lot of ethnic, cultural, geographic diversity.
In all senses of that, from all of the different cultures that you can find and people living in DC, to the art scene, to the food. I think the diversity is part of what makes living in DC so special and so exciting to explore.
So there's essentially every culture represented. There are embassies all over the place for every different country.
DC celebrates its diversity through museums, exhibits, festivals, and restaurants.
We're surrounded by highly educated, highly motivated people.
Well, it's the nation's capital.
It's an opportunity to feel like you're really close to what's going on in your country.
The amount of history.
There's the National Mall, of course.
The museums, which are free, the Smithsonian museums.
Really, really always exciting to explore what you have here in the nation's capitals. I think one of the things I really appreciate about DC is the diversity, and not even just the diversity of people, but the diversity of cultures. I think anyone who comes to DC will find a place, people who they feel very, very comfortable with, whether you like downtown living, suburban living, whatever sort of lifestyle you like, you're gonna fit in.
It has all the advantages of a major city, including arts, parks, museums, schools, music, restaurants, but it's still small enough that you can walk from one side to the other in a very short amount of time. In addition, you could drive to the beach in no time at all, or be out in the country in Maryland or Virginia before you know it.
Again, the proximity to our seat of government, the opportunities for advocacy that exist there.
Was visiting the embassies for the different cultural events.
The great diversity in food that you can get here, especially if you're a big foodie.
All the inexpensive and free things there are to do. You can take a walk through the National Mall on a random afternoon. You can tour the Library of Congress. You could go down and see actual Congress at the US Capitol. You can go to one of many free museums.
You can take art classes at the National Gallery for Art.
I had no idea there was so much greenery around, so many trails, so many outdoor sports, so many playgrounds for our children.
Go down to the wharf, to the waterfront, and have a cocktail. You can get in the car and drive 1 or 2 hours to the west to go hiking in the mountains, or you could go the other way to the east and go to the eastern shore, where you could eat crabs or go kayaking or just hang out by the beach. All of these things are either free or really inexpensive.
Is there anything special about the neurology program that I want an applicant to know?
I think you're going to find more depth and breadth of training than just about anywhere in the country.
We're a tertiary and quaternary care center, meaning that we get referrals from around the region, country, and the world for our expertise. The people that guide us are really the international experts in their fields, and we know them on a first-person basis. These people become our family, friends, and mentors, and really this place will let you explore any interest that you have and chase basically any dream that you'd like. We have access to incredible research opportunities, advocacy, government organizations, patient care organizations based out of Washington. Really, you have so much available to you that it's almost impossible to explore everything, and that's just what makes us so great.
And I really think that our program is unique because we truly are a family. I came here because of that when I interviewed 13 years ago, and I don't plan to ever leave. I think we really function as a tight-knit group. The faculty, the fellows, the staff, the nurses, everybody in the hospital really functions as a team and as a family. We rely on each other, and I think we really truly care about one another on a day-to-day basis, and I think that feel is why our faculty stay for so long, why almost half of our faculty were fellows from here, and why we all get together even when we're outside of the institution.